Hi, I'm Mitch. I'm here with my dad and we're going to replace the drive belts on my 2005 Subaru Impreza. Recently, I had been hearing a high-pitched squeaking noise coming from the engine bay, and upon further research, we figured out that it was most likely a belt or a pulley. Unfortunately, I cannot show you an example of what this sounds like because we can really only hear it under hard acceleration and when it's a little less humid, and we've been having rain recently, so it's still pretty wet out. To get at the drive belts, we need to take off these two 10mm bolts and this one 10mm nut. Got it.
Okay.
We also have to loosen this 12mm bolt to get this other half of the cover off. You only have to loosen a little bit because it's just a fork that kind of holds it on there. This thicker belt drives the alternator and power steering pump. This one is for the AC compressor and the tensioner pulley, right down there. To get this belt off, we're going to have to loosen this lock nut down here. This is 12mm, and then this adjustment slider bolt up here. When you have the belt loose enough, you can just work the belt back over the pulley by kind of sliding it. This may take a bit of work, but eventually it'll pay off.
Next, loosen the lock nut, which is also holds the pulley on, with a 12mm socket. And then loosen the drive tensioner bolt. And we don't really need to worry about making it loose enough to remove the belt over the pulleys, because we're going to be removing the whole pulley and the bracket that holds it on, which is held on with these two bolts. Now with these two bolts removed, the bracket and the pulley come out, and we can remove the belt off the AC compressor. Now we'll remove the pulley from the bracket, and that's attached through this threaded part that goes through the pulley, and that didn't come with a replacement pulley, so we're going to have to remove that from the pulley and use it on the new one. You can actually hear there's a little bit of a rumbling noise if you spin the pulley by hand, so that may be the culprit for the squeal that we are hearing. The pulley center mounting piece is press fit into the pulley, so we're going to use a large 36mm socket and a vise to press it out. Line it up around the middle of the pulley and then tighten the vise. And out it comes. And we'll give it a little spray of oil. And then push it into the center of the new pulley. Next, we'll attach the pulley back to the bracket for the AC compressor belt. Put the nut back on. Just finger tight. As a comparison, let's listen to the new pulley. Actually, you can't hear anything, so that's a good sign. And then mount the bracket back on the engine with the two 12mm bolts. snug up the bolts.
These are our two new belts. This one is for our alternator and power steering. This one is for our AC compressor and tensioner.
First we'll install the AC pulley belt, which runs on the crankshaft pulley and the tensioner pulley to get to the AC compressor. Now you'll have to turn this tensioner slide bolt quite a few turns in a counterclockwise direction to move the pulley up to give you enough slack in the belt to get it over the pulley, over the AC compressor pulley. Once that's on, crankshaft pulley, tensioner pulley, and AC compressor pulley, and turn it in a clockwise direction until the belt is tightened. I'll show you how tight in a few seconds. Double check the belt on all the pulleys to make sure that the ribs are all lined up with the grooves and that the belt is centered on all the pulleys. And then tighten the tensioner slide bolt to the point where if you push the center of the belt, it should deflect about 1/4 of an inch. Tighten that a little more. That looks about right. Next, tighten the lock bolt, which is the same one that holds the pulley on.
Next is our alternator and power steering belt. So first you want to come around, put it on the crankshaft first, then around the power steering. Make sure we're kind of aligned here, and then back up over the alternator. This can kind of take a bit of wrestling, you know, but eventually you should be able to get it. Next step is to slide the first half of the cover on. Make sure you've got enough room behind there. Bring it back. Take your 12mm socket and tighten it down. Make sure it's good and on there. Okay. Next is to switch over to a 10mm. And we're going to want to tighten down the other side of the cover. Make sure it lines up. Next, still with the 10mm, is to put on this part here and then come in with the bolt. Everything lines up. And off screen, we put a little WD-40 on our bolts just to help make them go in a little bit easier, but we want to make sure they're still nice and tight. Final step with the nut. Finger tighten it on. And we are done.
Let's fire it up and see how it sounds. And then tighten the vise.
Tighten it.
Okay, tighten. It's tight.
Tightening. There we go. So we might want to mention to be kind of careful.
Yeah, but we're talking there.
Yeah, true. You're right.
Now let's just redo it.
All right.
And loosen it.
Loosen.
And don't say anything. Loosen.
Loosen.
And don't say anything while it's coming out.